Welcome to the Coaches Show. My name is Joe Clay. Today I have with me Coach Neal Holliman, the head baseball coach here at EC. We also have Mo Little, Luke Cooley, and Brady McGee, all members of the 23 and 2024 baseball team. Guys, it's good to have you here. We had a great season, and I'd like to talk about a few, I guess you could say, milestones that we had this year. And I want to mention those and then briefly talk about each one. And then, Coach, I know you've got some things that you'd like to say about your players, your team, different things. So let's talk first for just a minute on some of these milestones and then elaborate on them and after that. We started the year 31-0. We won 55 games. That's a record for EC. You sophomores were part of 92 wins. That's a record for EC. Back-to-back trips to the World Series. Coach, you won your 500th game here at EC.
Well, these guys did.
Somebody had to guide them, Coach.
Well,
you ended the season, the regular season, ranked number 1 in the nation, and you were ranked number 1 6 of the 10 weeks. And we did all of this in the toughest region, toughest state in the nation. I don't want to talk for just a minute about each one of these. Coach, you started off 31-0, just how you planned it when the season started.
Yeah, that's how we drew it up. Yeah. And that's an unbelievable accomplishment to play the people that we play prior to our conference, and then within our conference to start out 31-0 is you can't dream that. That was never a goal of anybody's. While that was going on, I really thought that they did a very good job of handling the hype or the pressure or whatever it may be that comes along with that, because there is some grind that comes along with it. And I saw it, guys. I don't know what y'all felt, that when we lost our first game, because we talked about it, we felt like we had lost some games that we had wound up winning throughout that 31. We had some miraculous things that we did, to their credit, but I felt like when we did lose that first one, that it wasn't this big disappointment. It was a disappointment, but we went into a little bit of a valley, because I felt like the grind of that. I saw the grind of that 31 after that fact, that it was almost like, okay, well, we're not going to win them all, and it wasn't like they got down on themselves, but it was just like, if you run 20 sprints, at some point in time, you got to stop and catch your breath. And I felt like we had to try to catch our breath during a period there. So I don't, they can answer that better than I can, but that's kind of what I saw from the outside looking in.
Mo, what about you? What is it like to just, like you said, just win day after day after day? Does it add pressure to you, or is it just something you just enjoy at the time?
I mean, don't get me wrong. It did add some pressure, but it also was fun. It felt like we would come to work, put the work in, and good things happen, and that was what we just did.
And every night I just go home, after doing the game, and just thinking, are they ever going to lose? Because it just seemed like it all worked out. We'd get behind, we'd catch up. And it was no quit.
Yeah.
There was never any quit in this team all year long. All right, Coach, not only did we win 31 in a row, but we won 55 for the year. That's a lot of wins.
You win 40, you've had a great baseball season. I mean, that's kind of the mark you have in baseball. You win 50, it's unbelievable. You get into the mid-50s like this group did, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
With the competition that we played, and prior to conference, and then our conference alone, and then playing the double headers. I mean, that adds a grind to it, because these guys, if the game starts at 3:00, and they probably think that I don't understand all these things, we're stretching on the field at 12:25. So their day starts, at 12:25 on the field, not even getting dressed and all that type of stuff. So, it's a long day before the day begins, and then you have, 16 innings after that begins. So,
and I always account the baseball games are going to last 6 hours.
Yeah.
But then they got to clean the field.
Right.
They got to get the field ready for the next game.
Yep.
So yeah, it becomes somewhat of a
That's
job.
it. That's it.
We mentioned these sophomores, and these three, just part of the group of sophomores, they won 92 games. Could you imagine when you brought these guys in of winning 92 games over a 2-year period?
No. I mean, again, that never was. You don't even think like that as coaches. You know, we liked the group that we were bringing in. I can remember, you know, sitting down with each one of them. I can remember seeing him play over in Meridian, and you know, talking to the assistant coach there at Brandon, Z McQueen, who played for us. I said, Z, I got to get him. You know, and then Cooley came here and was in our fall league, and we're like, holy cow, And then Brady. I mean, known about Brady since he was in 8th grade. So it just starts all over for us, with classes beyond. That's what we're doing right now, with looking to the future and doing the same thing with other guys and hoping to continue. We have a statement in our locker room that says, a tradition in the making. And that's what we feel like we're currently doing.
Brady, what was it like being a part of 92 wins over 2 years? Did you win that many games at Lake your whole career?
Maybe in 6 years.
Maybe in 6 years.
No, actually, no.
Yeah.
Nowhere close. But no, it was fun. But I mean, with the group of guys that I was blessed to be with here for 2 years. I mean, if we would have won half the games, it would have been just as good as the time and all that. But it definitely made it better. It definitely made it easier to come in and work every day.
We went back to back to the World Series. That's real easy to do, isn't it, Coach?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. That's just another day at the ballpark. But no, we all know it's not. But these guys, along with several others, I mean, they put in the work. It's amazing at the number of hours that they put in outside of what we ask them to do or require them to do with practice, the team practice, which everybody does. But the time that they put in, whether it be hitting on their own or whether it be Cooley lifting and up here on an off day, what some people classify as an off day is not an off day for a lot of people. They earned what they deserved.
You mentioned at the send-off event before you went to Enid that the previous year made you more prepared to go back this year. Do you still feel that after you?
Without a doubt. And I think these guys felt that too, and they were probably able to relay information to the freshmen because all of us were just going off of information that we may have gathered from other people that had been, which is valuable. But there's nothing like experiencing anything for yourself. And just the other stuff that comes along with it, the preparation for the coaches to get them there and those type of things. And I didn't ever feel like that we were overwhelmed or sped up at the World Series in 23 when we went, but there was definitely a different feeling going back this year.
Luke, you pitched last year, and then you got to pitch again this year. How much did last year's experience help you this year?
It helped a whole lot for sure. It's the biggest stage in junior college baseball, and going back, it felt a whole lot better this year. I mean, I was a little nervous the first time. I can't lie. It's easy to let the game speed up on you on a stage like that. I didn't really go there well the first time, but I had a great time this year. But it definitely prepared me. That's good.
Coach, we mentioned, I know you don't like talking about this stuff, but you won your 500 this year. That's a special number to reach. How did it feel to reach that milestone?
Well, very gratifying, but I don't know that we could have drawn it up any better. Brady hitting the home run because he's the 4th generation in his family that have played at East Central, and I could get emotional about that. So. That was pretty special just in how it happened. But it's a lot of work by a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of administrators, a lot of teammates, a lot of assistant coaches that have allowed our program to get to that point. It's not me.
Yeah. And I remember that game because that was our last home game before we were fixing to go on the road, and we wanted to win that game here for you, and then Brady gets a home run to walk it off to win it. And because we were close to losing it.
Yeah.
And we came back and we won it. So I guess Brady saved the day
That
for you.
100%, like he did a bunch of times. All three of these guys did, and others.
Yes. Okay, guys, you were ranked number one at the end of the regular season. You were ranked number one 6 of the 10 weeks the polls were published. Were you watching the polls a little bit?
Not really.
Not really.
We knew about it when it first came out because Coach Holliman had talked to us about it in the cage one day. But I mean, after that, I mean, we might see it on Twitter scrolling through there. I never really looked for it or nothing like that.
What about you, Mo?
No, I would never really try and focus on it. We always had to get better. So I mean, it was nice to know it just in the back of your head, but it wasn't something we just strive to do. Be number one.
Yeah. Luke, you've been around ball a lot, as all of you have. When you're number one, you got a bullseye on your back too. And did you feel like being number one that maybe you got the better that everybody else could offer? Trying to knock you off.
I definitely feel that way. I mean, everybody was out to get us, it felt like, but there wasn't any pressure, If anything, there was like an added confidence to it. Like, we knew we could do it. We knew we could keep going. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
I think it depends upon what your ultimate goal is, and that wasn't the ultimate goal. That was just a step along the journey of what striving to accomplish, which is the national championship. So it's kind of where you see guys that are drafted. I've seen guys that have been drafted and they've kind of reached their climax when they've got drafted, and then other people that make it to the big leagues. Getting drafted is just a step in the process to get you to the ultimate goal.
And this year, for the first year ever, all those number one rankings paid off in the end.
Absolutely.
Because normally there's no at-large teams.
That's it.
But by being so good all year long, by being highly ranked, means a little bit more now than maybe it did in the past.
That's right. Well, and we talked about that even prior to conference, that, all the different teams that we were playing that were so highly recognized throughout the country as to how meaningful those games were, because this was the first year of an at-large, and there's going to be 2 teams throughout the country. And if our region keeps doing what it's traditionally done, one of those at-large teams is a very good chance is coming from our region.
And really, both at-large teams should have come from our region. But
that's something we'd love to get changed throughout the country, but we'll see.
I mentioned earlier that this is the toughest, in my opinion, state and region to play in. I have compared it to the SEC West in football. You have to be prepared every game in order to have a chance to win. And if you're not, you're going to get it handed to you on the field. What's your thoughts about this league, Coach?
There's a lot of people doing a really good job. There's a lot of emphasis put upon it with the facility improvements that are going on throughout our league, and the coaches that are within our league, and the work ethic of the coaches within our league. That's as simple as I know to put it. There's a lot of people doing a very good job and in developing their players and providing opportunities for their players, and that makes it tough.
Guys, we'll start with Luke and just work our way this way. What was it like to play in this? You played high school, you played at a high level, all of you did, but what was it like playing in this league?
Yeah, it's tough. As a pitcher, you grow up pretty quick. You can get away with a few things in high school ball and stuff like that, but you can't make a whole lot of mistakes in this league, especially with these hitters. But you grow up quickly as a player for sure, as a pitcher.
Brady?
I think it's a grind. I mean, like y'all were talking about earlier, the amount of hours that we put in, like on game days and all that, well, it makes it a lot tougher when the quality of opponent is higher and it takes more out of you. And like, I remember playing Meridian one of the first conference games here, and we went, I think, extra innings one time or so. It was just a long day, and then we had to turn around and play 2 days later. I maybe got one off day, but it just took a lot out of you every series, it seemed like.
Yeah. I haven't thought about that, what you said, Brady, but probably you can be more relaxed on a road game almost, because other than the traveling to get there and back, you just have to show up and play.
Yeah.
But here, a lot of folks, I don't believe a lot of these players that are wanting to come to this next level, they don't realize there's a lot more work goes in than just them, when they say play ball.
Well, I mean, you can't just want to play baseball at the next level, or especially like somewhere that competes every year. But you got to really love baseball to want to play and to be good at it. I mean, there's some places you can probably go play and just go do what you got to do or what's required, but not anywhere that's going to compete year in and year out. I don't think.
Mo, your thoughts on this league?
It's way different from high school. The competition
Feels a little bit.
Yeah, it feels a little bit. All right. But the competition is basically the best of the best from high school, and that's how it'll be from here on out. You always play the best of the best from the people where you were. So I've played with a bunch of guys in this league from all over, Pearl River, Jones, and they were the best guys with me in high school. And now we're all just playing against each other. So that makes the competition even better. And honestly, I don't think there's a harder region to play in.
Yeah.
Because people from all over, they can go beat anybody. Yeah. That's just how I see it.
And I asked y'all, Coach went in here, but was the region that you play in just as tough as the World Series? And y'all all three said it's just as tough to get through this region as it is to get through
Without a doubt.
the World Series.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. One other thing I want to mention, and I'm gonna let you talk about you guys some. We don't like to talk about losses, but we did lose 9. We were 55-9. But those 9 losses were a total of 14 runs. That's amazing. If you said we lost, the games we lost were by 14 total, I'd have said we lost 3. But we lost 9 by a total of 14 runs. 5 1-run games, 3 2-run games, and 1 3-run games. Usually in baseball things happen, and you're just gonna get it handed to you. You know, we've watched the World Series. Florida State the other day beat somebody 24-4. Georgia got beat 18-1. Then they turn around and win.
That's it. By a big margin.
Yeah, by a big margin. And now we play 64 games, and the worst we get beat all year is by 3 runs.
Mm-hmm.
That means that y'all were in every game. And like we talked, we won some games that we shouldn't have won. But we could have won every game. But, we were in every game at the end. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on that, Coach?
That's an unbelievable stat. I mean, any season you're going to have games that you win that you may not have should have won. The other team just kind of messed up and lost, or either you did something really special. Because if you make mistakes throughout the game, then you have to do something extra. It's kind of like not studying for a test and making a bad grade. Then you have to do something extra to get your grade pulled up. So whether it's a pitching performance by somebody or really some big hits by people at the end of the game, which we had all of those. But to be in those games over that, you said 64 games. That's special. What that says a constant effort to compete.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That says good pitching and good hitting, good fielding. You got to do all 3 of those to win, but then
you got to be willing to compete.
Yeah, and then to be able to
and the duration of competition.
Yes,
all the way through the end.
It's easy when you play 64 games to take a game off.
100%, or to say, hey, today's not going our way. It is what it is. We'll get ready for the next one.
Yeah, and this team never did that.
Nope,
never did it. Coach, talk about some of these guys, if you want, some of the other guys on the team that really helped make this team special.
Well, and to piggyback off something you were just saying about this team never did that, we were up 10-1 off a very talented and very well coached Madison team in the World Series. Had a guy on third, 90 feet away from run ruling them. And they stayed, hats off, I caught those guys in the hallway and congratulated them because they stayed the course with their team, and they kept playing. They came back and they beat us in that first game. So and these guys were very frustrated. And one of the reasons that I sat back and looked at it, it's like I told y'all when I came to Mound that day, later in the tournament, these guys got frustrated because of what happened the year before, because they had one slip through their fingertips, and it kind of was like, and they were on the field. And I think that was like a flashback and a frustrations built because of that. Well, they could have just thrown their hands up and said, well, this is the first game of the World Series, and this is what we've done. We had a game won, and now we don't, and here we go. And they didn't, so.
And then you go on a 4-game win streak.
Yes.
Against really good competition.
Yeah. And, I told them that the last game was very disappointing, not frustrating, because I wasn't frustrated by their efforts, because their efforts had been there. But it was just disappointing because I thought we had a better team, but that's not a knock against Brunswick or anything of that nature, because Brunswick had a phenomenal year and they earned it and they got to the national championship game and that type of thing. But we sure would have liked to have, we had 4 guys ready to go. We sure would have liked to have handed the ball to Cooley and seen where everything mapped out.
It is pretty frustrating just because, not playing your best ball and knowing what you're capable of. But, at the end of the day, it's baseball.
It's baseball.
You can't really. But that is the frustrating part, is knowing what you're capable of.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't play their best down the stretch.
Yes.
And
I know what it's like from a parent's perspective to get almost there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just so frustrating. But then when you look back over the year, how many other teams would just like to have had the opportunity?
That's right.
And you got to look back at what you were able to do and the fact that you were good enough to get there.
We've been extremely blessed.
Yes.
We've been extremely blessed. These guys have earned that, have deserved that. They've put in a lot of things outside of just baseball that I think has helped our team grow. We've been blessed by you, Joe, just even here today, and our administration and the different people that have poured into our program to put these guys in the best position to be successful.
You talk about being blessed. This was not something we talked about, but there's a spiritual part that goes on here.
Mm-hmm.
That your father-in-law
Mm-hmm.
leads a Bible study.
Correct.
And he does it every week.
Correct.
And I know that it means a lot to these guys.
Yeah. I think I can let them speak on that, because they show him appreciation. But anything that y'all want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, Mr. Larry does a lot for us, and not just it helps our team, but us individually too, spiritually and all that. And I definitely think that plays a really big part in the chemistry aspect of it, and just being closer as a team.
Okay, now talk about some of the guys. Some of the ones that may not be here today. We couldn't bring them all.
That's right. Kelby Jordan, he punches the clock every day. He received the player that most exemplifies an East Central baseball player, which is voted on by all the teammates, the Jamie Clark Award. He's just a winner. I was down in South Mississippi recruiting. This was in the fall, and one of his former coaches said, "Hey, how's Kelby doing?" And I said, "Man, I'm gonna tell you something." I said, "That guy's not Jesus, but I hadn't found anything wrong with him yet." Grades, effort, off the field conduct, just on a daily basis. And, then you throw another guy in there that's, just is a different mindset, but the same type competitive player, Parker Martin.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how accountable those two guys are. Barrett Rogers, had a phenomenal year for us. Trey Bridges, we wouldn't have been where we were without his contributions to our team. And I think these guys made a great contribution to Trey. You take Nick Arnder, that was, he was on the all tournament team. We kind of had a rotation there in left field with him and Cyrus Roan and Marvin, JL Reed at third base. Reed's, as good or the best defensive third baseman that I've ever had the opportunity to coach. And he was able to throw in the World Series. He kind of had a setback with his arm. It'd been really nice to have had him all year, being able to come in and throw some back end innings. But he did a phenomenal job for us at third, and then JL, platooning with him there towards the end some and delivering some big hits, early on when whether Reed was on the mound, and then early on to provide some pitch hits. And then the two guys behind the plate that just really, two became one.
They did.
Two became one. With Jaden and Liam, we split time with them, and a lot of times both of them would catch in the same game.
Right.
Because they're both not the fleetest of foot. They kind of run like me and you.
Right.
So we may have to pitch run for one of them, and then Langston Cotton, provided some very good defense throughout the year. And then we settled in on our best defense in the middle was him at short at the end. So and then Scooter Carlisle, Rex Henderson, Connor Applin, on the mound. Golf, Billingsley, both of those guys really came on and grew the second half of the year, I felt like. So, it was unfortunate that we lost Trey Wynn because, but everybody, you're going to have adversity. You're going to have adversity. Everything's not going to go smooth sailing, so what are you going to do when that adversity hits? But, I'm sure I'm leaving some guys out, you may have, but it's just the effort. I can think of, some phenomenal plays by a lot of different people, seriously, they're running through my head right now, whether it's, Kelvin Jordan, I think, ran into the wall full speed 4 or 5 times this year. Some throws that Cyrus Rome made, the home runs that he hit in our playoff game here, to send us to the regional tournament, had 2 home runs in that final game. So,
and there's a guy that I think is sort of like maybe a little unsung hero type guy, was Trey Smith.
100.
Trey redshirted a year and then played for 2 years and he pitched hit. He had a couple of big home runs for you, but then he gave you a solid first baseman when you needed it. And you never.
That guy's going to be ready to do whatever you ask
Yes.
him to do when you ask him to do it. He didn't get to play every day. And this is what I can tell you about Trey Smith's character. This was about game number 25 or so, somewhere in there. And he was in there, and I came across the field. I think there was a pitching change, and I was thinking about scenarios. And I think he thought that I was thinking about, whether to pinch hit for him or whatever it may be. And here's a guy I think he was starting that day. And he looked at me and said, "Coach, do whatever you need to do." And I said, "Trey, no, I'm not. You're hitting. I'm thinking about something else." And it wasn't spitting the bit and being afraid to compete. His commitment to the team was more than his commitment to being able to get his playing time when he got it, because he didn't get many starts.
Right.
And as unselfish as a young man as I've ever had the opportunity to coach, and I love it.
Yeah. I have some stats I'd like to go over with each of you guys. First, some team stats. We played 64 games, scored 556 runs, had a batting average of .310, on base percentage of .448, slugging percentage for the team .478, hit 61 home runs. One thing I believe that you really like, we were hit by pitches 133 times. Because there's one thing I've noticed about EC batters, they don't get out of the way of a fastball inside.
Well, the more guys you get to first, more guys you get to second. More guys you get to second, more guys score.
Right.
So,
and that's 2 a game on average. So that's just 2 more free passes.
Yep.
Now, it may not be free for the guy who gets hit.
Yeah.
It costs him a little something. And earned run average for the conference was 3.0. And then for the year, for everybody, it was 3.56. And the batting average against us was .223. Those are good team numbers, Coach.
100%. And Coach Fless is not here today, but he did a phenomenal job with our pitching staff and helping those guys. And we appreciate his efforts to our program, the same well as Coach D's, and both of those guys have moved on. But it took a lot of different people and the former assistants before. And I'm not just saying that. There's a lot of people that have provided the platform continue to build the foundation that these guys have been able to stand on and continue to raise the bar. These guys have done.
Back on the hit by pitch, I thought this was a typical stat. The leading guy from Mississippi State that got hit by pitches this year, Amani Larry, played at EC for 2 years. He took it with him, Coach.
Yeah.
Took it with him.
Well, it's kind of like when Tim got to the big leagues, and I was watching him his first. I went and watched a 3-game series in Kannapolis, North Carolina, and it wasn't in the big leagues yet. But every arm that he saw was 93 to 96. That whole 3-game set, and he got hit. And I said, Tim, he said, Coach, I only know one way to play. I said, yeah, if these guys are throwing a little bit harder, you may want to get out of the way of a couple of them.
All right, Mo, let's talk about your stats for just a minute. You scored 68 runs. You had 77 hits, 15 doubles, 2 triples, 12 home runs. And we already talked about you hit more than Brady. But Trey got you by 1.
Not as much as Trey.
Trey got you by 1.
We had a competition going.
You knocked in 74 runs. You had a batting average of 348, home base percentage of 475, and slugging of 597. The on base percentage, what does it, and I know you don't think about this, but what does it feel like when you know half the time you go up there, you get on base? I mean, when you think about it, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And but the home runs, you had a great year. Yes, sir. And all of those basically are improvements from last year. Last year you batted 340, now you batted 348. Your home run stayed the same. You consistent there, but you scored 49 runs last year. You're up to 68. You had 67 hits last year to 77, and part of that we played extra games. But you were very consistent for 2 years. And what do you got? What would you say about Mo when he walks up to the plate?
He hit.
There's always a chance it's leaving the yard.
There's it. That's it.
Brady, you had you scored 80 runs, and most of that was you getting on base and Mo knocking you in. That's up from 42 last year. You had 74 hits, 21 doubles. You beat Mo on that. You had a triple, 9 home runs. You knocked in 48. Last year you knocked in 32. Just like Mo, you improved. Your batting average was 332, up from 302. On base percentage 466, and slugging percentage of 539. Just like Mo, you was on base half the time you batted. I remember one game. I guess I don't think I've ever seen a guy get beat up as much as you did, Brady. But you took a foul ball off your eye socket that fractured it in 4 places. It took you a few minutes to find the ground as you stumbled around. But once you did, you got back up and you doubled. And then one of the next at-bats, you get hit. And you still competed. That just shows me how tough you are. What was that game like, for example?
I don't know. There for a little stretch. I don't know. It was tough. I got hit or whatever that game. Then I came back. I was wearing the face mask. Cooley hit me in the inner squad, like the next inner squad. After that, I don't know. I got hit like 5 times in about a week. I don't know. It's just part of it.
I don't. Like I said, I don't. I saw your eye afterwards, and it was just like, wow. And you only missed 1 game, and you come back and you led the next game off with a single, and you played. You played the rest of the year.
Well, and we were trying to get him out of that game. We were trying to let him play as long as he could play and aid us because of what he brings to the table. Obviously, who wouldn't? But we wanted to look out for the betterment of him, and he was. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just he took a little lick on the head, and he didn't have a concussion. We went through all the concussion protocols with our athletic trainers, and then even the doctors confirmed that he didn't have a concussion. But we even sent somebody out there one time. I don't know, it was probably 6th or 7th when we sent a sub out there to get him, and Brady sent him back to the dugout. And that's that's what you want, because then you want to get to the end of the year and these guys are driving the ship.
Yeah,
that's
And it also speaks a lot to the younger guys, you gotta be tough.
Yeah.
You gotta be tough to play in this. Luke, you had 15 appearances, 13 starts, 8-1 record. Last year you had a 5-2 record. You pitched 82 innings, almost double from last year. This was amazing stat to me because a lot of the games you pitched a 7-inning game. You struck out 12 and a half per game. I believe second in the nation in strikeouts.
Well, I think that's wrong. I think he's actually 10-1. You know,
Okay,
and pitcher of the year in the conference.
pitcher of the year.
Pitcher of the year in the conference. You know, we got All-American, All-Conference, pitcher of the year in the conference.
2.34 ERA. No, I'm sorry, batting average against you, and your earned run average according to this was 2.29. That's a great year, guy.
Yes, sir.
That'll get you a scholarship somewhere.
Absolutely.
Just like both of y'all. One thing we want to mention on Luke also, Luke has been selected to travel to Amsterdam, Holland, to represent the USA and the NJCAA and the prestigious, I can't pronounce that name, week over there, and he's going to be playing against Italy, Spain, Taiwan, the Netherlands, and Japan. You gonna take your country accent to Holland?
Yes, sir.
All
They
right.
know I'm not from there.
they gonna know you're a visitor.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. Not every day you get to wear USA across your chest.
That's true. Represent the red, white, and blue. Guys, over the last 2 years, each of you were part of a state championship, a regional championship, back-to-back trips to the World Series. We'll start with Mo, and we'll go the other way this time. What are some takeaways that you have of your time here at EC?
The one thing I'll take away from EC is it's bigger than the game. Baseball is a game, but everything else around it, it's not just baseball. You have to put in the work. You have to build a brotherhood with your teammates, because I think team chemistry is what did it for us. I think that was the biggest thing we had. I think everybody was on one accord most of the time.
Because it's impossible to be there all the time.
Yeah, most of the time. Well, even if it wasn't there, we wouldn't just leave it like that. We would always fix it and figure it out so we can get back on one accord.
Brady?
I remember my freshman fall, I grew up a lot my freshman fall. But I remember Coach Holliman out there, we were running one day, running a lot of sprints. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but it stuck with me. It was, are you willing to put in the work or buy in or something like that, or make sacrifices and still not be guaranteed success? And I think that's a big part is we put in all this work and all this extra time, but I mean, in baseball, you're still not guaranteed anything. And I don't know, that just stuck with me, and I remember that. And then, like Mo said, the brotherhood. I have friends now that'll last me a long time that I'll still talk to. I'll still call these guys a lot after this. Some of them will be at my wedding probably and all that, but I mean, it's just, like Mo said, it's bigger than baseball, and baseball is pretty fun too. It's pretty cool to come out here and play at a stadium like that and this level of baseball. But yeah, I don't think I would have rather went nowhere else. I think I made the right decision.
Cooley?
There's a lot to take away. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, and I was truly blessed to be a part of this group. You know, like, these are lifelong friends. I talk to them every day, just about a lot of them. And, you know, it's truly a grind, and I have a lot to thank Coach Holliman for, Coach Fluss for. You know, a lot has happened in the last 2 years that, you know, they put me in the best position to succeed, and that's what they preach every single day. It's kind of like they said, you know, nothing's guaranteed in baseball, no matter how hard you work, but, you know, they're going to tell you, like, they teach hard work here. It's a grind for sure, but it's kind of like Brady said, I wouldn't change anything about it.
I know all three of y'all are taking it to the next level. I'll go in D1. Luke, start with you. Tell us where you're going. What was that like to the recruiting process for that, and what are you expecting next?
I'm going to Louisiana Tech. It's in Ruston, Louisiana. And a little bit about that, I have a cousin that grew up in Ruston, and he went to Louisiana Tech. And he pitched there. He's a left-handed pitcher just like me. He taught me a whole lot. And he's with the Marlins now. So it was a pretty easy decision once I got, I connected with them. They recruited me a little bit out of high school, told me I needed to develop a little bit, and so that's what I did.
All right, I want to touch on that just a minute. The three of y'all are going D1. Now that you look back at your high school year, were you ready for D1 then?
Absolutely not.
Probably not. That's not at all.
A lot of high school kids, they want that D1. Nothing wrong with it. But y'all played 120, 30 ball games and played in most of them. As a pitcher, you don't get to play in as many. Mm-hmm. If you'd have went straight D1, you're probably sitting on the bench for a year or two and hoping nobody transfers in ahead of you. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, this route is a great route.
I think it's a great route for the majority. There's no one size fits all.
Right.
But for the majority of the population, I think it is.
Yeah. Brady, where are you going?
Southeastern Louisiana. Me and Mo gonna live together. But my recruiting process, I don't know, it was kind of long. It was throughout this season. I think they signed in the fall, but I got recruited throughout the spring, and it was a lot there for a little bit. It was kind of tough to handle first couple of weeks, just because I was playing pretty good and got a lot of attention and all that. But I learned how to handle it a little bit, and I just kind of try to think of it as, it's just baseball. At the end of the day, it don't even really matter, even though it does, because it means a lot to me, and that's all that I've ever done. But it ended up working out. I think I'm going to a really good place, and I like all the coaches, and I think it's going to be a fun time.
Mo?
Oh, I'm going to Southeastern Louisiana. Well, he's going with me. But the recruitment process, I think it started for me after last year. And once they brought me on campus, I fell in love with everything, the coaches, the facilities, the people I met. And once I found that, I didn't think there was any point of looking further because I had found what I wanted. So I went ahead and committed, and then I just had to take care of business this year. So it was fun.
Do you think if Brady can get on base, you can knock him in?
100%.
100%. All right, no, we've already joked about this a little bit. Cooley, you're going to be facing these guys.
Yes, sir.
Are you going to hit them the first time you pitch to them, or are you just going to strike them out?
I think I'm just going to strike them out.
Just strike them out, get it over with?
Yes, sir.
He promised us some fastballs.
Some fastball?
Yeah.
Okay.
It don't matter.
Guys, on behalf of EC, on behalf of Coach Holliman, we wish you the best. We want to thank you for all that you've done for EC. And whatever you do from here on in life, whether it's baseball or whatever, we hope the best for you. And we want you to be successful in everything that you do.
And I would just like to thank our administration, you, Joe, Larry, our sports information director, our public information people, which I know those titles have changed a little bit, but Maria and Amy and Karen and Lucas and them, and then, our president, Dr. Gregory, board of trustees, and everybody that has just put our program in position to be able to recruit these caliber athletes and provide them with the opportunities to play. And then our fan base, the support that we have has been unbelievable. So it's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes other than just what people see in the immediate to put these guys in position to be successful.
Yes, I agree. We're about out of time. Real quick, tell everybody some improvements, enhancements you're making around the facility.
Well, we've got the restrooms and skyboxes that are going up right now on the first base side. We're working on, there's 4 or 5 other things that we're tackling. I just got to prioritize them, so I don't want to really list all of them right now, but it's a constant growth. It's one of those things to where I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But if you get satisfied, then, you need to move on and let somebody else, because I want to provide the best venue for these guys to play in. But all of that stuff is just brick, mortar, concrete, steel. Bottom line is the relationships and the development and the energy that that these guys put into it, and that our coaches put into it to help them be the best they can be. That's what really matters.
You got a lot of baseball camps coming up.
Yep.
They can look on the EC website.
Correct. Yeah, we'll be posting our the update for our youth league camp. We've just kind of gotten behind with some recruiting things, and then the World Series, which is a good thing. But we had our team camp, which we had great participation at that last week. So we came right off the road from the World Series, and one day later jumped into, having team camp coming in, and then obviously we're on the road recruiting all this week. But that's what we signed up for.
Well, guys, it's been great today. I appreciate your time. Looking forward to ending our season in Enid again. I think we need to always end in Enid.
We'll give it our best shot.
And as we put a close on this season, we just want to wrap it up in EC Black and Gold.
I hear you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.